If you enjoy this video, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like what you see on my channel and would like to support me on Patreon, click on the link below. As far as flying saucer films go, Earth vs. the Flying Saucers is one of the most memorable alien invasion movies, and the flying saucer designs are truly iconic, and the designs have influenced a number of films. The film was based very loosely on the 1953 non-fiction book Flying Saucers from Outer Space by a retired US Marine by the name of Major Donald Keyhoe, who believed that any UFO sighting was in fact alien in origin.
Major Keyhoe, where do you think flying saucers are coming from?
I don't know. There is an indication that they could be using Mars as a base. I don't mean they originate there, but every time Mars has approached us in the last 10 years, there's been a noticeable increase in saucer sightings.
The storyline for Earth vs. the Flying Saucers is about highly intelligent alien beings who are traveling in flying saucers to seek a new home. Their target? Earth. The military asked the help of scientist Dr. Russell A. Marvin, who after the major destruction of cities and popular landmarks by the aliens, invents sonar cannons which are mounted on trucks that act as Earth's only defense against the aliens because it interferes with the navigation and propulsion system of their ships. The battle strategy in Earth vs. the Flying Saucers was apparently almost directly inspired by unfounded real-life events documented by conspiracy writer Ken Thomas, which occurred only 1 year before the release of the movie. A scientist by the name of Wilhelm Reich claimed to have used an invention called the Cloudbuster to attack UFOs, which he believed were hostile. The device would apparently suck the energy out of the craft. The Cloudbuster was very similar to the sonar cannon devices used in the movie. The Cloudbuster was apparently an atmospheric device constructed with two 15-foot aluminium pipes mounted on trucks and connected to cables that were inserted into water. Reich found his device very handy for shooting down alien crafts. He described these events as a full-scale interplanetary battle in Tucson, Arizona in 1955. The script for Earth vs. the Flying Saucers was written by Bernard Gordon, writer of B-grade films during the 50s, with films like The Dead That Walk and The Man Who Turned to Stone in 1957. Gordon was originally credited as Raymond T. Marcus due to being blacklisted. George Worthing Yates was co-screenwriter. He was well known for writing for the science fiction films It Came From Beneath the Sea and Them. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers was directed by Fred Sears, who worked as a contract director, who was capable of working in many different genres. His most notable films were the rock musicals Rock Around the Clock and Don't Knock the Rock, and the B-grade science fiction feature The Giant Claw. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers was made through Columbia Pictures and produced by Charles Sneer, who had produced and worked on a number of Ray Harryhausen features. The film would star actor Hugh Marlowe, who was an actor I always liked. He co-starred in the science fiction film The Day the Earth Stood Still in 1951. He plays the lead scientist Dr. Russell Marvin. Actress Joan Taylor starred mostly on TV in shows like The Rifleman. Her only notable film role was in 20 Million Miles to Earth in 1957. Paul Frees was an actor, voice actor, comedian, impressionist, and screenwriter, known for his work on theatrical cartoons for Walter Lantz and Walt Disney. He would also provide the voice of the ghostly host for the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland. For Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, he would provide the voice of the aliens.
Can you understand this?
Paul Frees was uncredited in the film. The legendary Ray Harryhausen was hired to do the stop-motion effects of the flying saucers. He also used stop motion for the destruction of the various buildings and landmarks as the saucers crash into them. To add some realism to the film, some stop animation was also needed for the shots where we see the aliens emerge from the saucers.
They had to be suspended with wire, and it had to give the illusion we felt something should be whirling to give the impression keeping these things aloft, because they were supposed to be done by atomic radiation of some sort. And we felt that it worked quite well. And then it gave the saucers a character. We could give them tips and movements as though they were being guided by intelligent beings.
Harryhausen would seek advice from a noted 1950s UFO expert, George Adamski, for the design of the flying saucers. Some of the film's iconic flying saucer design was also taken from descriptions given to Major Donald Keyhoe from the UFO sightings in his best-selling Flying Saucer book, which also inspired the scriptwriters. Great use in the film was made from World War II stock footage of aircrafts crashing and warships being destroyed. There was also real footage used from an airshow crash to make it look like a UFO was shooting the plane down. The location of the home barbecue scene and the neighborhood shots in The Final Attack were filmed on Morning Glory Circle, also known as Blondie Street, which is the outdoor set on the Columbia Warner backlot, used in countless films and television shows like Leave It to Beaver, Bewitched, I Dream a Jeannie, The Partridge Family, and films like the Lethal Weapon movies. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers was also released by two other titles, Invasion of the Flying Saucers and Flying Saucers from Outer Space. The film would be released as a double feature with the film The Werewolf. Reviews were mixed. In Variety, the critic noted that the special effects were the real stars of the film, saying the technical effects created by Ray Harryhausen come off excellently, adding the required out-of-this-world visual touch to the screenplay. Another critic said, the stubby, helmeted aliens sometimes emerge from their sleek ships and zap people with their death rays. But it's the flying saucers that are the main attraction. One critic gave a negative review and stated that the semi-documentary technique was pretentious, and the film was a long-winded and rather bleak invasion from outer space. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers has been a major influence, even a number of decades since its release. The film has some cool effects, and the stop-motion effects by Ray Harryhausen are incredible for their time. Ray Harryhausen has made quite a contribution to cinema. In 2008, there was a 4-issue comic book miniseries titled Flying Saucers vs. the Earth, which were inspired by the reimagined events of the film from the perspective of the alien invaders. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers is not up to the standard of films like The Day the Earth Stood Still or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but is definitely an important film from the 1950s. Its influence is certainly felt today in films. My name's Jonathan. Thanks for watching.